I've never really viewed myself as particularly talented. Where I excel is ridiculous, sickening work ethic. You know, while the other guy's sleeping, I'm working. While the other guy's eating, I'm working. I have a great time with my life, and I want to share.
Welcome back to the Staley in English show featuring Coach Kurtz.
Yeah.
I am your man, Coach English. I'm with Coach Staley and Coach Kurtz. It's another wonderful weekend. Glad that we can come back again with you guys for episode 8. We are 8 episodes in. That means 2 months down on the ground here, giving you the best that we can in high school, college, pro, everything on and off the court, field. And if we ever had the topic, maybe even lacrosse, pool, whatever it is you want to possibly talk about, we're here to talk about. How's your week going there, Big Josh?
Week as well. Always God is good. Florida State took it on the chin yesterday. Took it by 3. I'm expecting my Redskins to actually beat the Eagles tomorrow and pull in one game behind first place into it. It'll be a virtual tie, not a literal tie, but it'll be a virtual. So I'm expecting my boys to take care of business yesterday. How everything going with you, Michael?
Man, I had a phenomenal week. Got to go out to check out Coach English and his guys, go over some stuff for their workout. Shout out to your team, Coach. Got there at like 6 p.m. on a Thursday night, and you had, 15, 16 guys, and they're working hard. So that was awesome to get to see your guys, and they were really engaged and bought in. And then I actually went down to Atlanta yesterday for a high school strength coaches conference, and awesome. There's some unbelievable high school strength coaches in the country. Got to give a shout out to Coach Gary Schofield and Coach Toby Jacoby, both guys down in Atlanta, who I put what they do up against anybody in the country at any level. Coach Schofield is one of my biggest mentors. I basically steal almost everything I do from him, so I got to give that full disclaimer. And then last thing, I think we got the best podcast out there for sure, but if you haven't, on my way to and from Atlanta, I was listening to the Road Trippin' podcast.
Yeah, I listened to it on my way here. You put me on that. It's funny.
It is a great podcast. If you haven't checked that out, obviously listen to us, but then if you're looking for another one, Road Trippin' podcast with Richard Jefferson and Channing Fry.
Yeah.
I actually got a chance to go to the South Carolina High School League Leadership Conference this week. I failed to mention and heard some great speakers. Our own Coach Hallett, head baseball coach over at AC Florida, did a tremendous job. And
That's
then I was
man right there.
And his speech was awesome, man. Talked about actually, do you have what it takes? Sportsmanship. The kids were engaged, and I also got to hear from Coach Boone. What was Coach Boone's first name?
Jeremy Boone. AthleteByDesign.com. Give him a plug.
Yeah, he was awesome, man. Just a very, very engaging show. Kept me on the edge of my seat. Not a show, but presentation. And I think it was great. I picked up a lot from both of them. And shout out to the High School League for hosting that. Young folks were able to come in and gain some leadership skills. So that was very good. But let's get into what we're going to talk about for this week's show. As the basketball season approaches, or it could just be any season that you want to play, that you participate in, we want to talk about a few things on, what to expect, how to look at things, and one thing we're going to talk about, and we'll let Coach Kurtz kind of hit that hard, is handling the relationship, that triangle between trainers, coaches, parents, skill coaches. We're going to talk to the young folks and get them to understand how important it is to be a winner off the field or the court of play, that everything connects. You can't just be a stud in your sport. You got to be a stud on and off the field. Be a great person in every aspect. And then finally, little something for the parents. How can you help your child be a winner? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and kick this thing off. We'll let Coach Kurtz get into his specialty, talking about how he handles his relationships with his coaches and being the strength coach at AC Florida. Oh, last time I'm going to say this too. Coach English don't come at my strength coach anymore. All right, he gave you guys a plan. Now you sneaking and asking him to come down there and do these sneak workouts. Now I wasn't gonna say anything.
It was not a sneak
until I saw
workout.
some stuff posted on social media.
It was not a sneak workout.
Okay, so this is what we're gonna do.
Why would I post it on social media if it was a sneak workout?
This is what we're gonna do. Get your own strength coach in Hartsville. Okay? Get you one, and then leave mine alone. Okay?
Listen, let me say this.
Right.
Let me say this. I believe in the betterment of all of the children, not just a few few children. I feel like there's a greater good to be learned from the great mind of Micah Kurtz over there, who I believe has. See, really, I'm gonna be honest with you. Not to take the joking out of it a little bit. He did something I was not able to do, which was explain to the kids exactly why they're doing the exercises they're doing. And to be honest, it rejuvenated them, because I can't tell you how many texts I got since he's been gone about, hey, coach, when are we getting back in the weight room? When before I couldn't even, they went and we worked hard. But, I think that them understanding that why they're doing this exercise, and he was explaining to them how they overuse their quads, and so the quad has a particular natural strength to it because of the motions on the court. This is why they have to strengthen the hamstrings. This is why they have to do this, and I think they learned.
Coach English, I understand all that.
But what I'm saying is,
get you a book or something if you want them to explain the workouts, dog. They got Google, you got a phone, you got a smartphone. I understand all that. Let's get started with the show.
Let me say this. Last time, Coach Kurtz, if at any point you feel unappreciated where you are, please understand that there's a little school between here and Florence named Hartsville High School that will be happy to have you. The football coach came to me. Hey, coach, who was that? I seen that guy before. Who was that was in the weight room? I said, that was Coach Kurtz. That's right. He's like, how'd you get him to come down here? I said, hey, all I did was ask him.
All right, well, you and your football coach can go to Haiti. Stay away from a guy. Like, all this isn't changing my mind. We know what we have here. This isn't an ugly duckling in the pond that we're overlooking.
I know you appreciate him to the death, but I mean, we're gonna bring it back. But you brought it up. I didn't bring it up.
No, I'm swinging next time.
Okay, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we just gotta, your kids got the sparring outfit in the back. We can make it happen.
They do get the sparring outfit. They do. Good thing we haven't been fighting this week, but they do have a sparring outfit. But Coach Kurtz, man, let's talk about this, man. Break this down, the importance of these people having a healthy relationship.
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, that was a great lead-in about how Coach English talked about. I really want to explain to all of my athletes the why behind what we're doing in our program. And so I always sit down at the beginning of the year and then continually talk to them about the core values of our program, the goals and the mission of our strength program. And so it's a delicate relationship with, if you got a full-time strength guy at the high school, and then you want your athletes to want to be the best and want to buy in and get that extra work. So if they want to get a outside trainer as well and get a personal trainer or a personal skill coach for their sport, I mean, it's a delicate relationship. You want them to want to get better and want to get that extra work in. And we talked about it a few weeks ago. I mean, everything about coaching in life is about communication and about relationships. So I need to communicate with my athletes about what we're doing in our strength program. And if they have access or their parents want them to get extra work in, that's great, because a lot of times I have 30, 40 kids in the weight room at one time, and there's some individual stuff that I see that they could use extra work with, and I may not always be able to give them their full attention, that one-on-one attention that they could get. So if they want to get extra work, it's about having an open relationship with the parent, with the athlete, and then developing a relationship with the outside personal trainer or outside strength coach or outside skill coach, to be able to talk to them about what we're doing in our program, what I think would be good for that athlete to work on outside of our program, so what I'm doing with that athlete and what the personal trainer or personal strength coach or personal skill guy is doing with that athlete, they all collaborate and they're married and they work together in a unified fashion. So again, it all comes down to relationships. I have some good relationships with some outside strength coaches, some private sector strength coaches in the area, and we communicate all the time about what if one of my guys is going to him, what he needs to work on. And like shout out to Jason Brunson at Athletes Arena. He actually just got married yesterday. But we just spoke last week about a couple of baseball guys are going to go and get some extra work with him. And hey, what do you think they need to develop? I don't want to overwork them, and I want our programs to work together. And so, again, it all comes back to being open with your athletes, being able to explain the why behind what you're doing, and then having that good relationship with the personal trainer, the athlete, the parent, where they all everybody trusts the process. And I mean, it sounds great how I just explained it. It doesn't always work out that way, but that is the goal, is to have a great relationship with the parent, the athlete, and the outside coach, where your program can work together cohesively.
I know for myself, speaking for myself from a basketball perspective, when there is a healthy relationship between every connecting dot, the kid benefits the most. I have one parent and she doesn't have to do this, but she literally basically tells me every time her son goes and get outside work.
For sure.
But what happened was that parent went to that trainer and be like, well, look, I really respect Coach Staley. I like what he's doing. Talk to him so you can know what to work on with him. And the trainer called me, and guess what happened? Me and that trainer have a great relationship. So every time my kids, he's one of the better trainers in the city. So every time my kid comes, one of my kids go to him, he hits me up.
For sure.
So what you want me to work on, coach? And it might be something as simple as, look, I trust what you do, but work on this floater, because we didn't get to work on floaters the last 2 weeks.
100%.
And that's so great because, one, it's not an ego competition. I trust what they're doing. They respect what I'm doing. The parent wants what's best for their child, and ultimately the kid wants to get better. Boom. Everybody's working for growth. No one's trying to sit in the background and say I did this. And it's a few, man, really, really good trainers that I work with. Coach Rob Rose, Coach Brown, Marseille Brown, Coach Coach Pooh over there at Cardinal Newman. Like, they do a tremendous job with working with my guys. I don't want to overlook anyone, but those are like three of the main guys.
Well, here's another thing, Coach. From me looking at, if I was an outside trainer, if I was a private sector guy, like, you develop a good relationship with the high school coach. Like, you just shouted out those guys. I just shouted out Coach Brunson. Like, if one of my guys comes to me and like, hey, coach, what do you think about me going and getting some extra work? What do you think I need to work on? Oh, I need to work on my sprint technique. Oh, you got anybody that you would recommend me going to? Yeah. Go to this guy. I know that I have a good relationship with him. I know that he's what he does as well. So if you're a private guy and you develop that relationship with the high school guys, like, we're all working together. It shouldn't be me versus you. We're all working together, and then it's going to work out well business-wise. Oh, Coach Staley's going to, one of his guys wants to go get extra work. Coach Staley's going to send his guys to me.
Shoot me those guys, man. Shoot me those guys.
Well, I mean, that's on the ideal
side
of the situation. It sounds real good, and I think for a lot of situations, for the guys that you talked about, for those and a couple of others that we know, the names might not be able to come to us at this moment, but there are a lot of good people out there. There are those on the other side of it that don't want to be married to the situation, that want to have their own stamp or to say that they did. And I think that's where
own stamp.
No, there's some people, like, coaching is one of the most
selfless
professions.
Oh my God.
If you're a guy who's like, yo, this is my guy, I want to take credit for everything.
Married to the situation. I like it. I'm going to tweet that later.
Seriously, they don't want it because you know what it is. A marriage is what?
It's
communication, compromise, and a commitment to another person, not to yourself. Yeah. And I think that a lot of and even let's flip it back on us. There's a lot of us coaches. Hey, coaches that don't want their kids doing extra work with the assistant coaches, that don't want them doing extra work with these outside guys. Mm-hmm. And my assistant coach, he'll call me up. Only thing I ask him to do, I say, hey man, just call me up before you open the gym in case somebody asks me why is in the gym. Boom, boom, boom. I do not mind you working out. I don't care who it is you work out.
Yeah.
Just let me know. And he does a great job. Coach Eric Bennett, shout out to Coach E. He does a great job of working those kids out. I got a new coach, Coach Lex, who does a great job of working my kids out. You know, if I'm here shooting a podcast and we were in season, when we be coming earlier, they'll be in the gym on a Sunday and be like, hey, we're open today. Whoever wants to come through and get some extra work, get some extra work. But they're not telling them anything detrimental that's going to point them against me and glorify themselves. They're really literally working for the betterment of the kid. But there's a lot of people out there that there's some assistant coaches that you can't let around your kids, and you got to spend a whole year getting rid of them. Sure. Because they have their own selfish intent and reasons that they want to do it. And then you got some of these personal trainers out here, whether it's strength training, whether it's a baseball trainer, softball, friggin' checkers, that just want to have their own way of saying, hey, this was my kid, this is what I did. And I think a little while ago I tweeted something that said, there's nobody who deserves a thanks but the parent, or that's if they're involved, because we have some parents that are not involved. So I'm not saying all parents, but there are some parents like Josh. You just talked about, one who always tells you what's going on and lets you know what the kid is doing, lets you know what she's doing, or he's doing to try to make their kid better, give them a better opportunity. We all should be. It takes a village. That's what they say. It takes a village.
By far, it takes a village, and I'm gonna tell you something, how important it is to have healthy relationships. Like from those guys, Coach Abraham, I ain't mean to just call you Pooh like that on the air, but that's who you are in the city, man. But because of my healthy relationships with Marseille Brown, Coach Pooh, Coach Abraham, and Coach Rob Rose, they work my sons out also.
Yeah.
Each one of them are on a revolving workout with my sons. I would like to think that I can give my sons what they need, but I know I can't give them everything. Mm-hmm. So if these guys can help out, guess what? They're going to help out. So if I trust my sons to go to them, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to send my extended sons to them, the guys that play for me. And it helps. I've been fortunate, like I said, to only have really 2, maybe 3 negative situations where the guy on the outside was trying to attack me. And most of the time, either the parents or the kids are going to come back and tell me because of the relationship what I have. One out of the 3 I was able to talk to and establish a good relationship with them. The other 2 just literally didn't want to talk to me. So because like you said, they had their own personal agenda. Yeah. But like Coach Kurtz said, man, Coach Kurtz hit it so heavy in the beginning, man. You gotta talk to me because you go in the weight room. If it's 40, it's 40. It's softball, it's lacrosse, it's some volleyball girls. It's my guys that's not in the weightlifting class. All of them are in there. Even with your interns and even with me walking around, we can't hit on everything. Mm-hmm. So guess what? When Brother Jason calls and say, yo, Mike, I got these guys, what do they need to work on? Well, it could be something as simple as, hey, Jason, work on their quick twitches. Work on their hammies a little bit more because we didn't get that. Sure. And guess what? The kid grows. Jason still gets his money, his investment, and everyone benefits. So parents, man, because it starts really with you, parents. Make sure the folks that are involved in your child's life have healthy relationships. Because I've been in a situation where, because me and the other person didn't have a healthy relationship, and I'm not being petty. I'm just going to be honest with you. It wasn't me. I'm like the kid in the classroom raising my hand. It wasn't me. It wasn't me, Miss Brown. It wasn't me, Miss Black, Miss Blue. I wanted to make sure that I did what was best for the child. So it's important to have a healthy relationship, but
and for sure. And last thing, I mean, if the coach is in it to say, I did this for this kid, like that's not like you said, nobody deserves to thank you. The person who deserves the credit is the kid.
Yeah, the kid deserves the credit.
Doing the work. Like, I mean, if you're just trying to say, hey, I'm the one who made this kid, that's not the kind of coach. The
kid still has to have the work ethic, 100%. The heart, the fire, the desire. I mean, our breakout is on every breakout we say dedication, determination, desire. You got to have that desire, but that's from them, from within. So we could send them to trainers all day, but remember you said it. I think it was episode 3 or 4. You said, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. You know, like Coach Kurtz, he was at the workout and he said, that kid right there, points to a kid and says, that kid's a beast right there. And all he was doing was wall squats.
Yeah, he was focused. He was bought in.
But he was so glued.
In,
He was so dialed in to Coach Kurtz that he did it. And so to the point where he was teaching the other kids, no, you're doing it wrong. No, you got to do this. You got to do that. You know, and which was so funny as he said it. I wouldn't have had to have been looking at who it was to know who he was talking about because that's the type of kid he is. You know what I'm saying? So I like the fact that my kids go out and get extra help. I love it because, like you said, we can't hit on everything. But you know, let's always make sure that the lines of communication are open and we stay, you know, incommunicado. Because if we don't, you know what I'm saying? If we don't, we're setting the kid up for failure because now we're pulling them in different directions.
Yep.
And the kid never wants to disappoint anyone. You know, I've never met a kid that intentionally wanted to disappoint someone. So
keep coaching.
They always,
Keep coaching.
Yeah.
I know some kids that didn't give a fat butt.
No, I'm just saying something. No, they just don't. They don't intentionally want to disappoint. You know what I'm saying? I don't think there's anybody with, you know, kids wise. I think a lot of that stuff is learned behavior that they learn over time. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that, you know, let's all foster a great relationship. Let's be married to the situation and make sure that we, you know what I'm saying, get these kids where they're supposed to, where they want to get to.
All right, that's great, man. I like how you use that word married, man. I'm expecting you and Coach Kurtz to get married real soon. All right, moving on. We're going to go ahead and get into this winning off the field, man. Winning off the field, winning off the court of play. Young people, a lot of times, young folks, y'all think you could just show up. You think everything is going to go well. Well, guess what? The human body and life doesn't work like that, okay? The more in line you are with everything that you do, and you're in because everything correlates, everything connects, everything collaborates amongst each other with the different things you want to do in life. What are you talking about, Coach? This is what I'm talking about. I can't be a great mechanic if I'm going around getting drunk, you know, 5 times a week because my hands aren't going to be steady. You know, I can't say I want to be a great singer if I'm running around in the cold with my shirt off every day getting sick. You know, everything you want to do is going to have to be in line. So young folks, you got to start, we got to, and it's our job as adults because I'm tired of cutting on ESPN, seeing these young folks getting arrested or getting suspended or getting fined because they aren't being consistent with their expectations off the court like they are on the court or on the field. So we have to be very, very consistent with what we do. The first thing I'm going to touch on, then I'm going to pass it on, is young people, stay away from recreational drugs, especially alcohol if you aren't old enough to drink, okay? I see Instagram pictures, Facebook pictures with young athletes with beards and stuff.
These kids act like they're 25.
Right, like they've already lived a hard life, man. And it's just like, slow down. His was crazy. It's a time and place for all of that. But if you want to be as great as you possibly can be in whatever sport you're playing, you cannot do recreational drugs. You can't be out here drinking and sneaking behind your parents' back. Or even more goddamn dangerous, your parents know you're drinking and think you're going to be able to perform at the highest level in your sport that you play. It's just not, that's just not how the sacrifice goes. You have to, in order to be great, you can't do what everyone else does. Shout out to Dr. Barron, Coach Alex Barron's wife, who taught me that at South Carolina State University. You know, that was one of the first things she told me. You can't be, in order to be great, you can't do what everyone else do. There's no commonality. There's no commonality behind the door of greatness. When you open up that door of greatness and start looking and say, that's where I want to be, you aren't going to see everything that you're used to seeing on a regular basis because it's not common. It's not common. And young folks, y'all got us. I know it sounds cliche, but you have to stay away from the drugs. You have to stay away from the alcohol. You can't say stuff like, well, there's no side effects in marijuana. Yes, there is. You know, there are huge side effects in marijuana. And I know you might be thinking, well, why they're legalizing it, why they want to do this. That's because they're trying not to send as many people to jail over something like marijuana because the prisons are overcrowded and they're trying to prevent so many people from going to jail. So make sure you really understand the whole spectrum of what's going on. But just stay away from it, man. What are your thoughts, Coach E?
Well, Any kid who has ever played for me knows my stance on this. If they have played for me, they know my stance on this. At my former school, I took it to the board, and they approved for me to test the kids as I wanted to. All I had to do was pay for the drug test myself. And I would drug test 2 of them prior to a game at random. And the only stipulation they made was I couldn't kick them off the team for a failed test. Okay, fine. So we put a thing in place where the first time they got a warning. The second, they would get retested. The next time test came around, they would have to be retested. And at that moment, then we would bring in a conference with their parent, and they'd be suspended for 5 games. And then after that, they'd be suspended for the season. Now, we wouldn't kick them off, but they wouldn't play again. And that's how serious I am about not putting toxic things in your body when you're an athlete. I think that there's no way for you to get the full potential out of your body. Not only your body, but your brain.
For sure.
All of those things are they go straight to your brain before it goes anywhere. That's why you feel woozy or sleepy or whatever else it is. That's a reaction to it going to your brain. That's why you can't remember half the stuff that you're supposed to remember to do. You know, like and then I'm sorry, this is going a little bit off track. But then you think we stupid. You come in reeking of it. Hey man, you been smoking? Nah, coach. Yeah, I'm dumb. I got stupid written across my forehead. And then now you expect me to put you out there to perform in practice or something else? You know, I just don't understand it. I don't understand. Like, and me growing up in Jersey, man, like me and one of my homeboys, we couldn't find no place to buy weed because wouldn't nobody sell it to us. Well, they said, man,
No, you're not.
No, I'm not giving that to you. You better go someplace else. And once again, comes down to the village, because somebody's selling it to them, somebody's whatever. And that's going a little bit far left. But I just feel like there's no way for you to perform, for you to get the full potential out of your body. There's no way possible if you're drinking or doing recreational drugs. And if you're talking about going to the next level, they put you out of school.
Yeah. Well, here's my thoughts. Like, so again, another shout out to Richard Jefferson and them guys on the Road Tripping podcast, because they were just talking something similar to this topic about. So it was Richard Jefferson, Channing Frye, J.R. Smith, LeBron. We're all talking, and all of them were talking about how many guys they've seen growing up, except I don't think LeBron had this problem, but those other 3 guys, how many guys, Kyrie was on it too. How many of them they saw growing up that were better than them growing up that did not make it because they were not fully engaged in being great 24 hours a day, these guys, Richard Jefferson, and listening to these guys speak, Richard Jefferson, Kyrie, LeBron, like, they are extremely intelligent guys. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that I don't think that gets out there in the media and stuff, is these guys that are playing professional sports are intelligent, smart guys. And all the publicity is, like, if the very few of them get caught with drugs or smoking weed, that's all in the media. And so now our young guys are like, oh, these NBA guys, they're all smoking weed, doing drugs, partying. And it's not all of them. 95% of them are fully engaged in being great at all times. And you can tell that they are very smart, that they did very well in school, that they were about their books, that they didn't party. And those are the guys that make it. Yeah. Those are the guys that make it. Are there a few that make it that just had just unbelievable athleticism and just luckily made it? But, like, when you look at J.R. Smith, if you look at him, you're like, oh, that guy's from the streets. That guy, but no, he grew up in middle-class New Jersey with 2 parents. He's very, very well spoken. He's a very smart dude just because he's got all those tattoos, and it looks like he's from the streets. He's not. He's not. Like, and he's what's he, 10, 11, 12 years in the league.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, he takes care of his body, but that stuff doesn't get publicized as much. And I mean, so if you want to make it where those guys have made it, like, you can look at those guys and they have done everything, resisted temptations, resisted drinking, resisted doing drugs, all growing up, did well in school, and that's what helped them get to that opportunity. Like, and I mean, Kyrie Irving's one of the top 5 players in the NBA, probably, right? I mean, he's talked about,
Right.
Yeah.
there were guys in my neighborhood that, in my area, that were better than me growing up, and they never made it.
Yeah,
like,
right.
they were better than Kyrie Irving, who's one of the best players in the NBA right now.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, shoot, New York. I mean, from where I come from, it's a million of them. You know what I'm saying? And I know from South Carolina, it's a million of them. It's so many people who chose to do something different, to not be great. They did everything they could to not be great. You can shoot, me being a high school teacher, my first teaching job, I was at a school with one of the country's top players, and shoot, he couldn't stay in school because he loved the weed so much. Now he ain't doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the what I need the young people to understand is, it's not that we don't understand the temptation. All right, and then for a person like me who had a really, really hard, I had a really, really hard life, and not to say that I did not try it. I don't do it because I know it's not good for my body. I know it's not. I didn't enjoy the high feeling. I didn't enjoy feeling sluggish all the friggin' time. I just didn't enjoy it, and I realized I did it because of the people that were around me. I did it because it was what people in the hood was doing at the time.
You gotta change. You gotta
people
change
on my
your
block.
landscape.
Yeah.
You can't. You could be in the hood and not hang with
Yeah,
dudes
and
that
not hang
have
with the dude. Like,
good intentions.
Exactly.
You gotta keep it real with yourself. I do believe this though, Coach. I believe you're going to get tempted.
Yeah, I mean,
That's not what we're telling you to fight through. Don't fall for the temptation.
Yeah.
Everyone gets tempted. I get tempted, Coach Kurtz, Coach E right here, because we're all human. But you have to condition yourself to know how to fight through the temptation. That's what we want y'all young folks to start winning more. But let me help y'all out a little bit more. Well, because we're talking about drugs. Well, how can you fight through these temptations? Well, if you fight through the temptation of not studying and bust your tail academically off the court or off the field, you're going to be successful. If you fight through that temptation of not wanting to respect that adult or that authority figure when you even feel that you aren't wrong, but you have to respect them just because they are the authority figure or the adult at that time, fight through that temptation of wanting to say, nah, man, what you talking about? Fight through that temptation. I've been there, done that. I grew up inner city DC. I've been accused of the police wrongfully multiple times, okay? But each time I had to fight through that temptation, and guess what happened? I always came back on the back end right.
Yeah.
Okay? You have to be willing to control your social life. Everyone doesn't need to know what you're doing, but through an Instagram or through a tweet. Control your social life. But when you align all of these things, when you respect adults in authority, you focus in the classroom off the court, you find yourself saying, then you start saying to yourself, you know what, I'm not going to blow it this one time just for this high. I'm not going to blow it this one time just to get a little drunk or hang with the boys, because I've invested too much. And the more you invest, the more you want to take care of your investment. You don't want to just walk away from it. So bust your tail in the classroom. Respect authorities. Respect adults. Control your social life. Because all of that, because a lot of times young folks, y'all get involved with this social life and y'all be spiraling out of control and you don't realize you're connected with so many people socially over the internet and through media. They have you twisting and turning. And it'll help you fight through those temptations, man. And we're pleading to y'all because we want y'all to be successful. And like Coach Kurtz said, don't get it twisted. Those few dudes that you're seeing getting caught on TV, they've been getting away with it for a long time, and now they're just getting caught. Mm-hmm. And that other 95% has committed themselves.
There's not as many as you think.
It's not.
The media sensationalizes things.
And what's crazy is, young people, it is so, now this is going to sound crazy. And I tell my sons this. My wife looked at me like I was crazy when I first said it. It is easy to be great nowadays. You know why it's easy? Because most people aren't going to wake up for 5 a.m. workouts. Most people aren't going to bust their tail on that test. Most people aren't going to say no to drugs. Most people aren't going to walk away and be called a punk or a chump because they don't want to take a drink with the boys. Yeah. Most people aren't going to do that.
Most people nowadays are fine with not being great.
Yes, they're okay with it.
So if you want to be great, it's a lot easier because there's not as many people out there that want to be great. That want to put that work in.
And a lot of people be like, well, you know, when you get to the top of the mountain, you know why the air is thin at the top of the mountain?
Because it's rare.
Because it's not that many people breathing.
It's rare.
So the air doesn't have to be thick. So when you get up there, you'll have all the air you need. Because it's and most people say, well, it was a lonely walk to the top. No, it's not. Because eventually you're going to see yourself surrounded with other people that want to be at the top.
Yeah,
so you won't, and you will have all the company that you need, man. All the company.
To piggyback on that, and then we'll move on. To piggyback on that is, you want to know about where you headed or your greatness or whatever? Take some stock in your circle.
For sure.
Take some stock in your circle. Your circle is, who are your friends? Who is in your circle? Like, how many of them dudes are positive, are going to reinforce that even if they smoking, they going to say, hey, dog, nah, hey, you go ahead and head home. You know, take stock in your circle, because whoever you surround yourself with, that's what you're going to be.
That's 100%.
Whoever you surround yourself with, you are who you surround yourself with. And a lot of you guys are okay with the mediocre circle that you're in.
Yeah, man.
You'd rather be jealous of the great ones, even though you can possibly be a great one. You'd rather be jealous of the great one with the rest of them, hang out with the mediocre, rather than finding yourself in that great circle. Because you don't belong in the mediocre circle. That's why you're never comfortable. That's why you don't like what's going on. That's why you have bad days, because you're uncomfortable with your circle. You got to change where you at to move forward. So if you're trying to be great, you're talking about you trying to be this great athlete, you're trying to, you know, every kid doesn't want a scholarship to college. I've learned that in the past couple of years, that every kid doesn't want to go to college and they're not interested in playing college sports. They just like doing it in high school. But if you are that, if you are the one that's trying to make it and you want to get there, and that means 24/7 grind, means you ain't got time to put BS in your body. You just don't have time for it. Because I don't care who you are, what you are. If you drinking beer, eventually it turns into a gut. Period.
All right, you kind of stepping on my toes.
I'm stepping on my own toes here. I'm stepping on my own toes here. I'm just saying, like,
here's one thing too. Like, we all at the high school level, we see these kids that are partying at a very young age, and it's like, and some of them are unbelievable kids that are just great kids, and I'm like, this kid is partying and drinking and getting drunk every weekend, and he's 15, 16 years old. So now, when he turns 21,
where do you go from here?
Where do you go? What do you go next?
Where do you go from there?
I'm worried about that. It's like, give it time. Give it time.
I mean, and not only that, man. The worst thing I always tell my players, I said the worst thing you could ever say to me, the single worst thing that you could say to me is, Coach, I should have listened.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to hear that. You know what I'm saying? So just make the right decisions. Do what you're supposed to do from the gate, and you ain't got to worry about all the extra stuff.
All right, man. Here we go. Last but not least, man. Last but not least. Parents, how can you help your child be a winner? Now, most of you think, well, if I do this and I do that. Now, it's a real simple equation. We're going to subtract all variables. So when you're listening to this, don't start screaming at the radio, say, well, my child coach don't do that. Or my child coach. We're subtracting all variables. Hopefully, the good Lord bless you with enough insight and discretion where you can see if your child is in a bad situation, man. How can you help your child be successful? One, support the institution that they are a part of, okay? Because when you show that you believe in what your child is a part of, it's easier for your child to believe what they are a part of, okay? Because one of the worst things you can do is talk bad about your child's coach in front of your child, and then that child still got to go back and play for that guy or that lady. It's going to be very hard for that child to do that, because You feed them, you clothe them, you're the one keeping a roof over their head. They're definitely going to value what you're saying.
Yeah.
But your philosophy or belief has the right to be different from the coach. But that doesn't mean that coach is particularly wrong with their philosophy or belief. So in order for the philosophy to work best for your child needs to believe in it.
Yeah.
They need to believe in it, and we're not talking about playing time and stuff like that. We're just talking about simply believing, because when they believe in the philosophy, and they're engaged, they're going to have the opportunity to be successful. You see it happen in college sports, high school sports, even the pros, year in and year out. Okay? Guys believe in the system. Those systems work. Chris Paul didn't believe in what the Clippers were doing. So guess what? The Clippers never really got over the hump. Well, everybody from Golden State believes in what Golden State is doing. Golden State wins at a high level. Well, coach, that's because they got Steph Curry, KD, and Klay Thompson and Draymond. Let me break it down for you. If you know anything about sports, the way Golden State plays outside in, they don't play inside out. Mm-hmm. The way they play outside in, statistically and percentage-wise, isn't supposed to work. Uh-huh. They were shooting threes at such a high clip. Like, even the announcers on ESPN were almost baffled at the beginning. Then they started believing in it. But because everyone believes in that system, make the extra pass, share the ball, move the ball, trust each other, and lock up on D, they broke the Chicago Bulls record. They won 2 of the last 3 championships, and that's with their starting 4-man. What, Draymond 6'5" on his best day? Yeah. They say 6'6", 6'7", but
he's about 6'4", 6'5".
So you have these guys believing in something. So the power of belief is very important, parents. That's the first thing you can do to help your child be a winner. What y'all got?
Well, I mean, you bring up a person like Draymond Green. He's the ultimate. If you're talking about a person that sacrifices for the team, like, he does the dirty work. Like, he's the defender. They switch on all ball screens. Why? Because they got the versatility to do so. Because he can move his feet on defense. He rebounds the ball. He starts the breaks. Sometimes he is the break. He runs the floor. He doesn't care if he doesn't get the ball. Cause shoot, like, you know what, man, shoot that 3. I'm gonna get this offensive board and shoot. If I'm open, I put it up. If not, I'm gonna kick it back out. But that's a testament to what? To him, yeah, but his parents or whoever, whatever coach he had growing up or whoever was influential in his life, letting him know that, hey, there's no I in team. Support what you got going on, and let's see if it works. And the only way you see if something works, you gotta believe in it. And that's the thing. A lot of parents don't believe in what the coach is doing because they feel as though it should be done differently, rather than, you know what, son. Or daughter, just what does coach want you? How about this? Ask your child what the coach is asking of you. I saw an article that says coaches should sit down with the parents and the kid at the beginning of the season. I found it intriguing. Not sure if it's anything I want to do, but they should sit down and let the kid and the parent know what their role is on the team for this year. So this way the parent is informed about what your mindset is and what you're expecting out of the kid, and not necessarily the intricacies of the offense, defense, and this and the third, but just what you're looking for out of the kid. Hey, we're looking for your son to pull down about 15 boards a night. We know he's going to get his points. We're not going to really concentrate on that. Your son needs to work on his jump shot more, so we're really looking at him. But he can play great defense, so we're looking for him to be one of our better on-the-ball defenders. Just little things. But then we alluded to it a couple of weeks ago. Parents, all that stuff Coach Staley said was just good, but you got to be able to look in that mirror. Put your kid in front of that mirror, or look at your kid not through them rosy glasses of the child that you love and care for so much. Yeah. When your child is out there, is he performing to a point where you go, okay, well, I don't know why he took my son out. I don't know why it is. So now they got the peanut gallery going in the stands, everybody talking about the coach, and now nobody is successful. How can anybody be successful in that environment? I don't see it being possible, because now you're gonna go home and you're gonna tell your kid whatever, or speak about on the ride home from the gym or wherever, talk about how bad the coach is in front of your child. So now the coach, who has to live with you, just like Coach Staley just alluded to, who has to live with you, the kid now has to make a decision. Do I listen to my mom or dad, who I know loves me because they put a roof over my head, food in my stomach, and clothes on my back, or coach, who is this outside person who I like, but my mama really don't like him or her? And so now we put this kid in a position where there's no way for him to succeed because he's torn in two.
What you got, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, so if you have a coach, if your coach wants the absolute best for your son or daughter, and is trying their best to be a great role model and win as many games as possible, which the vast majority of coaches, that is what they all want. Support that coach. Support that coach. Is every coach in every high school, in every school in America, the best X's and O's coach or the best coach? No. Is every coach Coach Staley, Coach English, Coach Hallett, Coach Steve Smith at Oak Hill? No, not every coach can be great like you guys are. But almost every coach in America wants the best for their players, wants the best for those parents, sons and daughters, and wants to win as many games as possible. So if that's that coach's, they want the best for the kid and they want to win, which majority of coaches do, parents, support that coach. Support that coach. So don't talk bad about that coach in front of your kids, because at the end of the day, all it's going to do is have a negative impact on the team and have a negative impact on the coach and player relationship. That's how I got it.
Yeah, man, it's important, man. So like, I think parents, we don't even have to talk about this long. Y'all are adults. Y'all have to help those folks. Go to the game and cheer. Because when the kids see that you're cheering for the team, I've seen parents just sit in the stand and only are engaged in the game when their child is playing. Don't do that. That's not helping your child. Believe it or not, that's not helping your child. Go to the game and cheer. Trust the process. Let the coach do their job. Support the coach. And help your child get better. You know, as a parent, I never want to, I try my best to stay away from coach and parent when I'm dealing with my sons. You know, my oldest son has been in situations where literally he was not the best player on the team. So he didn't play as much. So guess what happened? He was in the car and he was frustrated on the way home. I did not talk about the coach. The conversation was only directed at him getting better. And guess what else I did? I called the coach and was like, look, your player needs to talk to you, man. He wants to know what he needs to do to get better. I didn't put my opinion in there. We figured out a way to get better. I told him he needs to get better, and his coach explained what he wanted from them. Guess what happened? The child grew. I didn't jump teams. I didn't say, well, we're transferring or we're doing this. We focused on the child getting better. That's how you help your child win. And it sometimes is a bitter pill to swallow, but you can't bring pride in it, man. It's especially when you're dealing with playing a team sport. And it's so hard to find a sport nowadays where you don't need a team, even in tennis. Yeah. You know, you need something, and it's going to be someone you're going to have to trust in tennis. You're going to have to trust your caddy in golf, you know. But at the end of the day, as parents, I think what we really want y'all to get y'all to understand is your role plays a major part on how successful your child is from an abstract point of view. I'm not even talking from a literal perspective, you know. But if you come and help them have the right mindset and the right insight and view on what they need to do, I think it's a lot easier for that child.
Well, it is at that point, because now the child feels as though it's in a comfortable situation. The child feels as though he or she is in a comfortable situation in which the parent and the coach are can get along and really are interested in the betterment of the team. And I think when a parent is in interest of the betterment of the team, then, you know, the kid then becomes a team kid because he's taking his cues from his parents. Remember, like we said, kids, all their behavior, the majority of it is learned. You know what I'm saying? So if a parent is engaged in the game, whether the kid's in it or not, you know, if that's the case, I mean, the sky's the limit for the team at that point, because you got parents. The girls' team has this parent. I love her to death, and she's on the girls' team, and I love her. Her daughter doesn't play much. Doesn't play much at all. But every game, she shows up with this huge cooler and this huge bag, and she chairs all four teams, JV games, varsity games, and after the game, she gives out snacks and cookies and juice and water to every player. Now, her daughter don't play that much now.
That's awesome.
But she's there, and she's changed. You know when she come in, you hear that cooler rolling into the
look
gym.
at the life lesson she's teaching her daughter, man.
Yeah,
her daughter's gonna be a great person because of that.
Yeah, but that's it. She's teaching her how to be. No matter what, you are a part of the team. So I'm going to support the team. She could have just brought food for her. Yeah. She could have just brought food for her. It's been so much food that my kids that's running around the gym, she'll give to Mir and Edison. Oh, here, give him this, give him that. You want more? Want more? You know, but that's the type of parent that you want. Like, and I'm not saying I have some that I don't. I'm just saying that that's the type of parent that you want. You know, it's just there's so much to be learned from a lot of this, just from sitting there. And even if I'm a parent who really, really does not like what's going on with the coach, okay, fine. You have options. There are a lot of options for you as a parent, you and your child. You know, if you feel as though it's that bad of a situation, then guess what? You're not doing the child no good by staying. I hate to say it, but transfer. Like, you have options.
Like we said in the beginning, communicate with the coach.
Yeah,
and some of y'all might have an attitude as bad as mine. Like, I have a terrible attitude, so I'm not going to be okay. Micah, you smiling. I'm not going to, like, but see, you have to learn how to channel your bad attitude. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to be okay with my son sitting the bench. Okay, that's just my personal attitude. Because as a coach, I want my kids to figure out a way to help the team win. Yeah. So I can't live with my son not helping the team win. So what do I do with my bad attitude? Get up. We're going to work out. You're not sleeping in on Saturday mornings. Yeah. You're not shooting the doo-doo all Sunday afternoon. As you can see, my sons aren't in the house. You know why? Because they're out training right now. Jason's in the first grade, Talon's in the fourth. And what they say is, oh, well, sometimes you're too hard on them. No, it's not too hard on them. This is the pedigree that we live by. Mm-hmm. This is the pedigree that we're going to live by. If it ever gets to the point where they think it's not fun, we'll stop. But I think it's fun because I do it with the thought of love. I don't do it with the thought of gaining for myself. Yeah. You know. The only really selfish thought I have in it is that the money that me and my wife have saved up for college, I want them dudes to get scholarships so we can travel the world with that college money instead of spending it on them to go to school. Because my wife already told them, y'all either going to school academically or athletically. The academics better be there, so whatever we get athletically is going to be cake. So you can have a bad attitude like me, but channel it. Help your kid get better. I'm not okay with my kid being average, and you shouldn't be either, but know how to channel it. If you don't, hit us up on the email, message us on YouTube, and we'll figure out, we will help you do it. But we're going to go ahead and bring this show to a close, man. I'm going to give my first shout out today is going to be to my brother, Jason Reynolds, for being in People Magazine. He's one of the great young authors.
Congrats.
One of the great young authors in America. His Miles Morales book just finished as one of the top sellers in the country, in the world. Your godson Talon is reading that book. I force him to read it every night. Not that I have to force him, but I make sure he reads it. But Jason, man, if y'all haven't bought Jason Reynolds' book, man, y'all Google Jason Reynolds and buy his books, man. Get out there and support him. He's doing a great job with helping young people, man.
Man, I mean, glad to be back on. I know I missed last week. I mean, it's awesome to hear you guys speak. And I thought that this was awesome. I like what you talked about. We all talked about. In order to be great, you have to be uncommon. And a quote, and I don't know who said it. So, like I said, I steal basically everything from everybody. So, whoever said this quote. I don't know who said it, so I'm going to take credit for it. But in order to accomplish what others don't, you must be willing to do what others won't. I mean,
by far.
So if you want to be great, you need to do what others don't.
Yeah, man.
And my final on this episode is it's of a personal nature. My brother has a bipolar disorder. He was just committed to a mental institution, and we did not know for years. And me and my family, we look back and find out little things that we could have seen, that we could have used to help him get help before now. So please pay attention to your brothers, your sisters, your mothers, your uncles, your family members, friends. Pay attention to what they're doing. Anything that comes up out of the ordinary, and try to figure out a way to talk about it, have conversation, because it isn't until my mom and my dad, who hadn't spoken for years, got together with my brother this past week and sat him down and talked to him, was where he decided to really go and get help after 10 years of a back and forth in and out of facility after facility. So please, I know it's our Cancer Awareness Month and Domestic Violence Month, and just let's not forget that there are a whole lot of other things out there, like people with mental handicaps. Please just take notice, pay attention to people that's around you, so that you can stay on top of the situation rather than being reactive like my family has had to be.
Sure.
For any comments or questions, anything that you would like to give for the show, make sure to email us. Be a part of the conversation at the Staley and English Show. That's AND, the Staley and English Show at gmail.com.
Yeah, I got the last thing of sending those emails. We need a name for our studio. On the Road Tripping podcast, they got a name for their studio. Email us, shout us out, give us a name.
Yeah, give us a name. How about this? Here's what we're going to leave in your hands. We need two names. We need two names. We need a new name for the show, as well as a name for the studio.
What, we changing the name of the show?
Yeah, we're going to change the name of the show, man. We got to find a way to incorporate you a little bit better than it's incorporated currently.
Featuring Coach Kurtz.
I respect that.
We went from not on it to on it. We'll figure out a way.
We'll figure out a way.
Yeah,
we got to figure out a way to do it. But mostly, let's get, like Coach Kurtz said, let's get your opinions on the studio name, man. It's got to be a name for the studio.
No singing.
No singing. The birthday's over, right?
No, but I'm saying it still sounds
good.
good.
Your wife, happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, Miss Staley.
Finally,
Miss Coach. Well, y'all enjoy your week. I swear it's distracting every time he starts to do it. I have something in my head and it goes out my head. I can't wait till this birthday thing is passed. But don't forget, email us. Let us know what you think. Hit us up on YouTube. Right. Check out the show on iTunes and Podbean. Also, shout out to what's the podcast again, Coach Kurtz?
Road Tripping. Yeah, you guys want us on your show? We're available. We're available.
Yeah,
Richard Jefferson, Channing Frye, holler at us.
As well as if you have adult ears, there's a podcast called the DJ Blaze Radio Show. It's now the host of it, DJ Blaze, has passed on, but his partner has decided to keep the show going. My man, Be Easy. If you get a chance, it's on iTunes. Very, very funny show. Get an opportunity to listen to it. It's the DJ Blaze Radio Show, and we out of here.
Yeah, man, God bless
y'all. Most people wake up if you ever turn up. Zigzags of the dream, they keep mad like a just like you. I'm trying to live my life right, and anybody like turn on the lights. And if you do that, then you'll be fine, yeah. 'Cause I remember dreaming there's a kid of me getting older, and exactly what I do, yeah. I had to get ready 'cause I didn't know what time or place to make my dreams come true. Yeah. Then later on, I learned that you can't talk to losers about winning. It ain't their language, they never gonna get. And then anything I can think of, I can make it control. Just look at me now. I'm on train too. My nigga Rico Love said turn the lights on. 'Cause you can see that you a whole lot better with the lights on. Don't be afraid to take the lights on. I learned to dream with the lights on.
I want my life, I want my work, my family, I want it to mean something. And it's like, if you are not making someone else's life better, then you're wasting your time. the first step before anybody else in the world believes it is you have to believe it. There's no reason to have a plan B because it distracts from plan A.
And I've learned you can't tell everybody your plans. And sometimes your dreams are bigger than them. You just gotta find a place to grow. Just let your actions show me. So baby, yeah, I learned that you can't talk to losers about it ain't their language, they never gonna do. And then anything I can think of, I can make it come true. Yeah, somebody turn the lights on. Yeah, I learned that you can't talk to losers about it. Turn the lights on. Yeah, it ain't language, they never gonna do. And then anything I can think of, I can make it come true. Just forget me now. I'm on drink two. My nigga Rico Love said turn up. Cause you can see the truth a whole lot better with the lights on. Don't be afraid to drink the ice. I learned to drink with the lights on.
Greatness is not this wonderful, esoteric, elusive, godlike feature that only the special among us will ever taste. You know, it's something that truly exists in all of us. It's very simple. This is what I believe, and I'm willing to die for it. Period. That simple.
I know who I am and I know what I believe.
I know who I am, I know what I believe.
That's all I need to know.
That's all I need to know. So from there, you do what you need to do. You know, and I think what happens is we make the situation more complex than it has to be.
Because we're looking for complexity. There's got to be something complex to understand.
It can't be that easy, though. The separation of talent and skill is one of the greatest misunderstood concepts for people who are trying to excel, who have dreams, that want to do things. Talent you have naturally. Skill is only developed by hours and hours and hours of beating on your craft. I think that there's a certain delusional quality that all successful people have to have. You have to believe that something different than what has happened for the last 50 million years of history. You have to believe that something different can happen. Being realistic is the most commonly traveled road to mediocrity. Why would you be realistic? What's the point of being realistic? Just put up a barrier. Yeah, I'm going to do it. It's done. It's already done. The second I decide it's done, it's already done. Now we just got to wait for y'all to see.